Today, we are going to do job evaluation, and especially we're going to do hands-on activity about two techniques. One is the qualitative and the other is the quantitative, which is called job grading method and point plan method, which are very, very critical. And you will really love doing these things so that you will be able to apply the same in your organization. So yesterday, anybody, in the last part, we spoke about equity theory. Anyone who can just quickly do a little recap on this equity theory? What we did? What is it? Why do we say that compensation should be equitable? As per the equity theory, what did Adam Smith say? Anybody? Okay. So we talked about equity theory and we said that employees are motivated, only when their input equals to output. All of you agree? We read about the input equals to output. So what is the input the employee brings in or gives? The input is what? Effort, time, education, experience. And what is the output? He gets salary, rewards, recognition, everything. So if he sees this as equal, then he is motivated. He sees that there is fairness in the way they are compensating them. But if there is inequity, he is demotivated. And there are chances that he may quit, he may reduce his productivity, etc. We talked about three kinds of equity. One is internal equity, second is the external equity, and the third is the individual equity. So this forms the basis, in fact, for the entire compensation. So today we are going to deal with how do organizations establish internal equity. So first of all, we have to understand, in fact, in our last session also, we talked about what is internal equity. That means fairness in the way employees are paid in relation to the others. Is there a fairness in the way employees are paid salaries in relation to others? It's not absolute. It's not like I get, say in maths, 80%. Absolute. No, it's relative. How am I being paid in relation to the other jobs in the organization? That means my input versus output, the ratio, is it equal or is it less or is it more? So they always compare that. Now, how do we do that? We establish internal equity, which means fairness and equity, through job evaluation. How do we do that? We establish internal equity through job evaluation. Anybody who's heard of job evaluation?
Yes.
Yeah, some of you must have heard of job evaluation. So today what we are going to do in this session is entirely job evaluation, looking at two techniques, which are job grading and point plan method. Okay. So what is job evaluation? Anybody who has an understanding, a little understanding, what is job evaluation?
Identifying the relative worth of the
Huh?
identifying the
It is
relative worth of the job.
absolutely. It is a process of systematically determining the worth of the job in comparison to the others. But why should we do that? So that if you want to pay fairly, like for example, there are 10 jobs in an organization. Okay. HR manager, HR associate, finance manager, etc. Now, how do I know which job I need to pay high and which job I need to pay low? Only when I know their value or only when I know their worth. If I know the worth of the job, finance manager is high, then I will be paying him higher salary. So to establish or to know or to stack them into hierarchy, we do a process called job evaluation. Okay. Now you have to understand when we are doing job evaluation, it is not job evaluation for the person who is in the job. Like for example, Sanjay, he is in what role? Are you in a Sanjay, in what's your role or a title?
HR analytics. Senior manager
HR?
HR analytics.
Senior manager. So when I'm doing job evaluation, I'm not doing Sanjay's job evaluation. I'm doing for that job senior manager HR or HRBP senior manager. So strictly it is the job and not the person. All right. Then what are we doing? We are actually establishing the worth of the job vis-a-vis the other jobs. Now, having said that, let me just stop sharing and give you a little. Okay. So when I'm doing a job evaluation, for a job, what do I need? I need to know what? What is the job doing? What is the senior manager doing? So how will I get? There is a document called job description,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
In every organization. And how will I get the job description? Through job analysis. Now, how do I do job analysis? It's a systematic process. I can do through interview. I can also do it through a questionnaire. Right? I can also do through what? Focused group discussions. I can also do logging method, observe. So there are several methods of doing what? Job analysis to obtain an outcome called job description. Okay. But typically, if I were to ask you, okay, fine. Now we have to do job evaluation in Vinita's hedge fund company. So the first and the foremost I'll do is typically, I'll take the critical jobs or at least 40% of the jobs or 30% of the jobs. So I'll take a list of the jobs. All right. Now I have to get the job descriptions done. Now, how much time do you think you will take for 50 jobs? How much time will you take? How will you go about? For one job, how much time approximately? How will you go about doing the job description? Ramachandran?
If we have to start from the scratch, that means we don't have a job description and we have to job analysis again from
How will
the.
you go about? How will you go about? So you will go, you will do all these things, right?
Then maybe we have to interview the supervisor first. What are the expectations from that job and what are the tasks or activities that person has to do to complete that job?
So typically it will take about a week's time, at least
For one, I think one day or 2 day would be
1 day, 2 days, provided they give you
considering
time,
so if
etc.
job is low, so definitely it can be
Yeah.
covered in half
So
day.
you can imagine how much of time just to create an updated job description. To create an updated, because you cannot say, okay, give me those old job description, because when you're doing a job evaluation, you need the current updated job description. Now I'll give you a very interesting method where you can in fact do in a week's time maybe even 50 job descriptions. I don't know how many of you know. So simply, what if I were to say, hey, you can actually get a benchmark job description, and from there you can actually start, interviewing or asking the role incumbent to add or delete. How much time will it take? Very quick. So there is a site called, I'll write here and I'll show you exactly. Own it. How many of you have heard about it? Own it? Yeah. It's a very easy method of starting your job description. Okay? Go to this Own It. Now, all that you need to do is this Own It has at least 3,000 to 5,000, or maybe 10,000 job descriptions. All that you need to write is whatever you want to, yeah. So anybody tell me, should we put HR manager? Huh? Job
Yes.
description for an HR manager?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, enter. So when you put in the word, then you will get HR specialist, manager, etc. A lot of them. Now you can actually look at which is closer to your title. And I will say, okay, human resource manager. Now, can you see? This is a summary of the job description. Can you, all of you see this? You get a summary of the job description where there are typically, what does the job description have? Tasks. See, so tasks serves as a link between management and employees by handling questions, interpreting, advises managers on so and so, perform difficult stuff. So this is a summary. It has technology skills, it has occupational requirements, work activities, detailed work activities, work context, everything. Now, if this is only a summary, now if you want details, now this is a detailed job description. Now that you have a detailed job description, now will you just put this as your job description or you'll do something to it? Obviously, this is just a benchmark job description. So what I do as a consultant, because typically when we have to do job evaluation and we have a time is a constraint, I use a Google format. What I will do, I will actually send out this job description to key stakeholders, what we call as a role set. If you study, every role incumbent has a role set, key stakeholders. Like, for example, who will be a key stakeholder for an CHRO? Who are the key stakeholders for CHRO? If I want to create a job description for CHRO, who will be the key stakeholders? Quick.
CEO, MD, both.
Then
CEO. So all the heads
CEO.
of the business functions
Yeah.
and also external. Now send some of the key stakeholders in this and say add or delete or make your comments. Isn't it very easy just to say yes, yes, tick, 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 as opposed to writing, starting from, okay, he does this, I may write everything in detail. I may not write everything in detail. I may miss out something, but this becomes very easy. Here is a very exhaustive list. Go through this list, just add or delete and say, yes, agreed, agreed, agreed. Now, when you receive them, because Google format, everybody is doing it quickly, sending it back to you. Then if there is a dissonance, means conflict of 1 or 2 points, etc., then approach them again, discuss and come to a consensus, and then send it to the reporting officer, ask for his confirmation, and then freeze it. Don't you think it's a much faster method of doing it? Right? So all of you, the first thing I would actually recommend for most of you as HR people or complement, see if you have job descriptions. And if they are not there, use Own It and go about doing it. That's the first thing.
Nirmala, can I ask? I have a question here.
Please do.
Yeah. So, Nirmala, I mean, whatever you have said, that's really good. And we have a website wherein we can pick all details of the job description, etc. So this
Right.
is from the consultant side. I'll tell you a real problem that I face. We were in touch with Deloitte, and they were the one who were drafting the KPIs for the top 2 levels, MD and MD -1 and 2 at least. So the problem that I face that they have picked all these job description, but in that case it was KPIs, and they have sent it to me exactly what you said. They have done it. However, there are certain roles that are evolving. So I wanted to take your advice that we as the HR professional, senior management HR professional, we may not be technically equipped with all the roles understanding. We may know at certain level some surface level understanding, or maybe a little bit deeper, but not to that, not to the T as any technical manager. So how should we go about in such cases, be it job description or any other thing?
Shweta, very relevant question. Most of us in our HR role, when we always think that, it is we who have to do compensation, it is we who have to do PMS, but we are facilitators. You'll be able to implement anything only when you make it like a participative. Like, for example, absolutely right. You are saying, I am not aware of a technical thing. So, obviously, you will go sit with that person, talk to him in detail, talk to the experts or people who have already been there in that role and have performed very well. And even if the role is evolving, talk to the boss, talk to the super boss, understand more, gather, get the information. Because you are not supposed to know everything about the technicalities. You with me?
Yeah, yeah.
So
All right.
it is very important because everyone, HR people think, oh, we can't do this. Like, for example, simple. I have faced it as an HR head. Typically, a lot of, especially in the IT companies, we have technical roles to recruit. My recruitment manager, if the person does not sit with the hiring manager, understand the role, then if he does not do that and just goes by some JD and then recruits, it's always a misfit, not the right. Understand first what is it required. Is it updated job description? Many times, let me tell you, the recruiters will just go with an obsolete job description and start recruit. Is it true? 80% of the time. So it is our responsibility, ownership. And especially in today's times, it's so ambiguous environment. And I
Yeah.
think nothing, you can't say, I've come, oh my God, no process, no JD, nothing, nothing on paper. Well, this is an environment which is evolving. Organizations are in a fluid state sometimes. So it is very ambiguous. Then in such times, in such environment, what is that? I need to be proactive. I need to learn more. I have to take the initiative of understanding the role, not, hey, it is not there. What can I do? Right? You
Nirmala,
with me,
one more
Shweta?
thing.
Yeah.
What's the ideal frequency of carrying out the JE, considering the
The
nature of
JE, job
yeah,
evaluation.
job evaluation?
Yeah. When do you evaluate a job? When jobs are there and you want to find out the worth of the job, and because you want to, design your pay salaries, you're doing it. But having said that, the job has evolved, right? And now a lot more has been increased in his responsibility, or
Correct.
so typically it is not recommended that you should do like a salary survey every year. See, once in maybe 4 years, 5 years. But if things are in place, typically you don't have to do job evaluation repeatedly. But yes, definitely you need to review, look at your jobs and see, has any job got outdated, or you have reduced the workload or you have increased, then proportionately you need to bring in those changes, right? Not like a market survey or not like a market correction. Job evaluation is not done often. Are you
Right, right. Got
okay
it.
with the
Got it.
response? Yeah?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Love. Yeah. So once again, talking about job analysis, I told you job description is outcome, and then you are doing a job evaluation, comparing the jobs. I'm not getting into job analysis more because all of this is how it looks, a job description form with reporting to, with all the key responsibilities, tasks, skills, everything. Now there are a couple of methods, both qualitative and quantitative, when you do job evaluation. Like, for example, job ranking. It is purely a qualitative method. That means no numbers involved. Qualitative method. And when I say point ranking system, it is points. So it is a quantitative method. So let us actually look at one method in qualitative, which is paired comparison. And thereafter, we will also look at job grading, which is almost like factor comparison, which is qualitative. And then we will look at point rating system, which is quantitative. Let us actually look at job ranking. And a very popular one is called paired comparison ranking. When I say ranking, what comes to your mind? Ranking means I'm putting them in ranks. So typically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I say, hey, I've come first, that means, the toppest. So you could have what? Rank, your jobs could be ranked in terms of their job worth. So how do you do this paired comparison ranking? So typically you form a committee called compensation committee. Who will be the member of this compensation committee? Typically the business heads, the CHRO or the HR head, and then the finance head, and also sometimes the CEO. Where can you use this paired comparison method? Typically for small organizations where the jobs are not more than 15 to 20. Because every time you add a job, then you again have to start the process of ranking all over again. So that's one. So it is a little subject because it is based on the knowledge of these business managers about the jobs. Okay. So they are actually forming a committee and they value this job as a whole. They are not looking at certain factors in the job and evaluating. So therefore, it becomes subjective to the extent of their knowledge. So that is a limitation. All right. So let us understand how is this process or what is the technique here. Say, for example, there are 10 jobs here. Can you see there are 10 jobs, right? From messenger to data processing, manager, data entry operator, executive secretary, computer operator, systems analyst, control clerk, programmer, file clerk. Now, when you say paired comparison, what you do, you are pairing. Pair means two. You are pairing every job in the organization with the rest of the jobs. Okay. So you use a matrix like this. You list all the jobs to your left side, vertically, and then horizontally. Okay. Once you have done that, what will you do? Who will do? The compensation committee. See, it is not the HR head who will do it and then say, hey, this is what I found. Will you get a buy-in then? Nobody is going to give because everybody say, no, my job is higher, his job is higher. So there'll be. So you need to have the entire compensation committee doing it and have a consensus. So say, for example, messenger. You are evaluating messenger. It's the same. So you just put a dash. Now here, the left side is being what evaluated with the job on the top. So if the job on the left side is higher, you put a check mark. So messenger, obviously, even I don't have to start looking at from the hat of a job evaluation. So obviously it is the lowest, right? Will you agree? Just give me a thumbs up, guys. Will you agree? Okay. Yeah. Now let us look at, you are able to see, let us look at data processing manager, the job which is in the set. Now, I'm evaluating who the compensation committee, looking at the entire job as a whole, looking at the job description, says, hey, and with the knowledge they have, is this definitely higher than messenger? You're putting a check mark. Same job, so dash. Then you are evaluating with the data entry operator. So saying, so the committee says, no, it's higher. The left job is higher. So you're putting a check mark. So likewise, when you are evaluating data process manager with the rest of the jobs, okay. So if you feel that the job towards your left side is higher, then you are making a check mark. Clear? Let us see here. Computer operator. Can somebody who sees, can say now? I want somebody to then, computer operator, anybody, take the initiative. You are evaluating with here. Shweta, you want to take a lead?
Yeah.
Computer operator with the messenger, so higher.
Mm,
So you put a check mark, right? Computer operator, you are evaluating with data processing manager. So data processing manager is higher. So nothing.
yeah.
Computer operator with data entry operator. So the committee says a computer operator is higher. So you put a check mark. Are you getting now? Let us take
Yeah,
another
yeah.
one. File clerk. File clerk, obviously messenger, higher job. Okay. Now, next, file clerk with data processing manager. It says that is higher, so nothing, dash. Again, data entry operator, that is higher, so dash. So if you can see, so the rest, all these jobs are higher, so no check mark. Got it? So in this column, now when I add up all these check marks, can you see data processing manager, when I added, it is 9. When I add assistant director, it is 8. Now, can I actually now, have I got a hierarchy of which is higher and which is lower? So if you were to evaluate and say, as per this ranking, which is the highest job here?
The data processing.
Data
Data
processing manager. And thereafter,
Is
the next is
assistant director.
assistant director. Then
We have
systems
System analyst.
analyst.
System analyst.
Then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3. So what have you done? Through the job evaluation of these jobs, through the paired comparison method, you have arrived at what? Evaluating and putting them in a hierarchy. Now, what do you do typically when there is a pay structure? Now you have grades in the pay structure. All of you in your organization, you'll have grade 1, grade
Yeah.
2, grade 3, or you have
Mm.
lower management, middle management, top management. So now you can then bundle them. If you look at 1, 2, 3, see, 1 is file clerk, 2 is
Data entry
Data entry.
operator.
data entry operator, 3 is control
clerk.
clerk, and 4 is
Computer operator.
computer operator. In large, they all belong to one bundle. They are doing similar activities, excepting that 1 may be the lowest and 4 may be the highest. So you are bundling and making them as grade 1 grade. Okay. And likewise, 5 and 6 you can have. 5 is what? Programmer 5. 6 is executive secretary. 7 is systems analyst, grade 1 grade. And then 8 and 9 as 1 grade. So now from job evaluation, you got hierarchy. From hierarchy, what have you done? Next step, you are able to bundle them into what? Grades. Jobs doing the similar jobs. Now, typically in a salary structure, what do you think next you will have to do? Anybody? Is that good enough?
Mm.
Quick, all of you are, what do you have in salary structures?
So we
Pay
have
ranges.
Banding.
like
Pay
where we
ranges.
have
Every grades will have to have a range,
Yeah.
right? You have to fix a salary range, salaries. So how do you fix salary? Because our task is not over as it. How do you fix salary ranges? Now I'll have to look at market data.
data. Exactly.
So when I look at market data and similar positions, what will I get? I will get the market data where then I will fix for every grade min and max. Due to the paucity of time, we are actually doing this fixing of taking the market data and doing the fixing of salary grades min and max for job grading and point plan. So I'm not going to do it for this, but for the next one. That's going to be the most critical one. So, sir. Okay. Okay, guys. Now the next technique, any clarifications in paired comparison? All that you need to do is it applies to companies which have fewer jobs, 15 or 20. Look at all your jobs, create a committee, then you are evaluating them one by one, and then you are ranking them. And how are you ranking? With this, knowledge, subject knowledge, or the business knowledge which the compensation committee has. So all of them come together, discuss, evaluate, and come to a consensus that this job has to be one, this job has to be two. Okay, they're evaluating. So to some extent, there is subjectivity. Yeah, Shweta, you had a question?
Yeah, Nirvana. So just one question here, that when we were comparing, of course, to job role.
Right.
But within the job role, there could be, okay, the level of difficulty could be different, level of stakeholder engagement could be different, etc. So, I mean, we have not looked at those factors or some key factors that we should look at it while
So
comparing two jobs.
absolutely. So here it is. So how does it operate in a paired comparison ranking? Say there are 5 people, 6 people, the committee looks at all the jobs. Then they are going to look at, as you said, the level of difficulty, the level of decision making, problem solving, responsibility, everything together. They're not looking at them in factors. Okay. So when you're looking at the job as a whole, this job, by and large, it looks like this. So there is subjectivity involved. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. So therefore, this technique, it's not very popular because there are better job evaluation techniques like job grading, point plan, etc. All right. Now
Okay.
you will see
Okay.
how the job grading process is. Now we are looking at another very interesting process, which is a qualitative process called the job grading process. And I want your full 100% attention here, and we are going to do it. You're
One
going to do
question.
this exercise. Yeah. Hmm.
In this compensation committee, who should be the members ideally?
So the compensation committee, ideally all the business heads, because they bring in the business knowledge, plus the CEO, plus obviously the HR head and the finance manager. Okay.
Okay, okay.
All right. Now comes the job grading process. This is called job grading. Just understand the process, and then I'm going to tell you how. First of all, we are going to identify in this process compensable factors. I will help you with it. Then we will decide on how many grades we want. Then we will decide on what are the descriptors for these grades. And then I will be doing the job evaluation. How do we do that? What technique are we using now? Job grading. What is step one? Step one is
Identify compensable factors.
compensable factors. Now you may say, hey, what are these compensable factors? Okay. For example, in an organization, when I'm recruiting a HR executive, I will look at his education, right?
Yeah.
Hmm? And when I'm also recruiting an HR head, I also have certain criteria for education, which is there in the job description. So the education is not the same, whether it is HR executive or whether it is HR head. There is a differentiation. It goes higher and higher. Yes or no? Yes. So that becomes a compensable factor. So factors for which I am paying. Got it? Education. Tell me your decision making, complexity. Okay. What else? Can you just think of before I also show you a lot of
Financial
what are those?
accountability. Right.
Budget control, right? So there are a list of, but the common ones I can say, right now when you are doing the exercise, education is one, experience, span of control, complexity, huh? As you said, effort, responsibility, how it is, or decision making. So these are some of the compensable factors for which you pay. Now, any factor which is required in the same quantum or there is no differentiation right from the lowest to the highest, that is not a compensable factor. For example, if I say, hey, loyalty, that's not a compensable factor because yes, you want to have loyalty across all. Then integrity, that's not a compensable factor, but that's a value which you want. Got it? I'm just trying to differentiate compensable factors. So when we are doing this job grading, what will we do? First, you will have to identify compensable factors for your activity. Only 4 compensable factors you identify. How many? Only 4 compensable factors. So here, for example, I've given education, experience, span of control, creativity, 4 compensable factors. Now, next step, determine how many grades you want for this organization. Now, how do you decide on the number of grades for the organization? Now, your organization, if it's like a public sector, it can have what? How many grades typically there will be in a public sector? How many will be there?
10 to 12.
Huh?
10, 12.
Yeah, you are being very, very modest. They can be, 15, 20 in public sector. Huh? Will you agree? So when I said, I'll show you the picture a little later in the PPT. So when I said traditionally you have, most of the manufacturing organizations, etc., narrow band. What does it mean? The salary bands are narrow. That means the difference between minimum of the band and the maximum is very narrow. Min and max. I'm sure all of you know, say, for example, I'm telling if there is a band called what? Salary band L1. Huh? And the salary band is 10,000 to, say, 10,000 to 15,000. So the difference is how much? 5,000. 5,000. I can also make a percentage of it. So when your band is very narrow, that means when I say narrow, what does it mean? Anybody, can you explain a little further before I explain to you?
There's not much gap between the maximum and the minimum.
Understood. Gap is there. So in practicality, what does it mean? If Shweta joins, don't think you are joining at this band. If Shweta joins at 10,000 and her increment is every year, say for example, 2,000, 2,100 or 200. That means by the time she reaches 15,000, that means the tenuity. So on an average, if your increment is 1,000 or 2,000, so the difference between this, the tenuity is very short. That means in 2 to 3 years, you will reach the maximum of the band. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically in public sector, why do they have that? Because they want to actually keep showing some growth, because they can't really give them, there's not much of responsibility. They want to show some growth in terms of promotion. So, but typically they'll be doing most of the same work. So narrow band means, for me, the stay period, the tenuity is very, very small, between 2 to 3 years. There is something called broadband. Most of the tech organizations are in today's times, where they have to be very responsive, market is very, very fluid, dynamic. So broadband, that means what? They will be just about 5 or 6 bands maximum. Okay? 5 or 6 bands. And the difference between min and max will be very large, wide. Are you with me? Only when there is a substantial change in the skills, competencies, etc., then they'll be promoted. But otherwise, the band will be so wide that I can actually then in recruitment becomes very convenient. I want to take somebody at a minimum at one point, and then even a sales guy at a higher salary, I can put him in the same grade. So I can accommodate a lot of people in the same grade, but giving higher salaries, but which I can't do in a narrow band because I have to keep increasing. And we'll do more of it when we do market, that is in session 3. So I don't want to really spend a lot of time here because the focus is here to learn more of this technique, grading and point method. Okay. But I will be doing more of this in the session 3. So now you just take, when you do your activity, all of you, you have to think of just 4 grades. Don't have to do 5 grades. Grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. So determine 4 grades. Step 1, step 2. Now what will you do? Step 3, you have to write definitions. When I say grade 1, education, what is the education I need to have? Grade 1, what is the experience? Grade 1, what is the span of control? So I need to have definitions written. Why? If you recall, when a recruiter says, hey, this HR manager, I'm taking him at a grade 3, then you will typically look at, oh, that means, he needs to be an MBA and he must have 5 to 10 years of experience. His span of control is typically like this. That's why he's in grade 3. Okay. So when I write education, I can also look at, because you're going to have positions, production, marketing, L&D. So write for HR, what kind. So you just not limit yourself only to production or etc. So what is the lowest education for a grade 1? Now, maybe you can also write like grade 4. I will say, hey, he needs to be a PG, but he also needs some certifications. Now, my question is, you have somebody whom you have taken in a manufacturing organization. The guy came with an ITI and you have taken him. Excellent performer. He got promoted. He became grade 2. You gave him some kind of an external engineering course. He passed it. So all in all, when you are actually promoting him, you will ensure that you are also then giving him continuous education so that he will fulfill the criteria of what this grade requires. That's why you will see when managers are promoted, if he requires an MBA, before he is promoted itself, they will create that, upgrading for him, that he has to go for an MBA course or a leadership course or whatever. Are you with me, guys? Huh? Just give me a thumbs up. So after doing all that, now what will you do? Then you will take the job description and you will evaluate. Huh? So I'm giving you, I think there are about, Vilma will open up those job descriptions here. I'll just stop there. You will have to take only 10 positions. You have that file with you all. 10 positions. It's a manufacturing firm with L&D, finance, HR, etc. Take any 10 positions and take a combination. Do this grid. You can take a picture of this and then write under grade 1 what positions, right under grade 2 what positions, grade 3. So you are doing job evaluation. First, you have to create this template and then map those positions to these grades. Are you with me? Only 10 positions because we don't have much time. So only 10 positions. Got it? All of you? Vilma, are you there? Vilma?
Ma'am, I had a question.
Yeah. Please, Neil.
So, ma'am, when we were speaking about the narrow band, you mentioned that the tenurability in a particular band might be less, but alternatively, depending on the compensation philosophy, it could also be that the annual increments are less. There is a possibility for that also.
See, typically when I say narrow band, the first definition is that the width of that band is narrow. Okay. But then what is the significance? Because the tenurity, because when by the virtue of this being very narrow, so the person can at best be, like, if you recall, in public sector, especially at a lower and a middle, every 2 years, 3 years, they are promoted. Forget
Yeah.
about public sector. Look at your own organization. At a lower grades, like an associate or a senior associate, what is the band like? Very, in 1-2 years, he'll become a TL, right?
Yeah.
Having said that, now, how do you, so you will be doing that here now when I'm going to, that data will come grading. So probably, Neha, I will park that, because we will be doing that just, after this exercise with the data, then I will show you how it will help you. Okay.
Okay. Sure, ma'am.
You will be able to then, understand better. So this is group
One.
one's presentation. One. Okay. Let me see. Who is presenting it?
I am presenting now.
Hmm.
So we took 10 positions, HR, Finance, QA.
First, let me have a look at your compensable factors.
Compensable factor, education, experience, decision making, span of control, and stakeholder management.
So, I will
Yes,
squat.
So for grade 1 education, we took this level up to graduation.
Okay, graduation, grade 2 professional,
Professional
MBA, certification. Okay, done. Yeah. 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 8, 15. All right. Okay. Low,
Decision making.
moderate, high, very high. 0 to 2, 2 to 5, 15, 30, 30 direct. Okay. Stakeholder management, low, moderate. All right. Okay, great. So positions you have taken is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So factory HR executive, quality analyst, okay. All right. Senior director, fines. All right. So how did you go about the process? Did you go by titles, or did you actually go through the entire role, responsibilities, the tasks, etc., and then evaluated and then put them into their respective grades? How did you go about?
We consider the responsibility and roles.
Right. Yes,
Then
absolutely.
accordingly,
Okay,
we
excellent.
put different
Okay.
grades.
Any challenges here? Did the group have any challenges? I can't see anybody else except
Yeah.
Ramachandran.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
faced while finalizing, like there were positions, if we'll see for HR, so that is starting from HR executive and then manager role and then DGM. But for finance, it's a basic requirement is the person is who is taking care of a kind of a unit finance head and then moving to
Okay.
the global
Okay.
resources. So
Okay.
mapping
Okay.
that, it's not clear cut that we have to start put that person to a grade 1. So because he's a CA,
Okay.
he's at a managerial role. So that needs little bit of a brainstorming in that.
Yeah. Did you also feel that, hey, this job, it could be in grade 1 or grade 2? Did you
Yeah,
have
so
that?
for quality, we were little bit in dilemma. Like there are two positions which
Yes.
should be grade 1 because the QA manager administrative role that is equivalent to
Okay. Okay.
the things which we have defined
Okay.
in grade 2.
So is it because some of the definitions of some compensable factors were fitting into grade 1 and some definitions of the some compensable factors were fitting into grade 2? So you must have
Yeah, that
faced that
also
kind
we
of a
can say that.
situation where you had that. Okay. So whenever, where is the other group? I'm not able to find. Is the other group also there?
Yeah, here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So because I wanted you to, so whenever you are doing a job grading, you will always have this dilemma that, hey, should I put this job in grade 1 because 50% comes here, then 50% in grade 2. So because it's a qualitative. So what happens ultimately when you have this kind of a tie, then you again consult the compensation committee, and then you are looking at typically which are those definitions for which compensable factors you are going to weigh them high, and typically being the HR mindset, you will tell them, hey, this job should be at a lower grade as opposed to a higher grade. Okay. Now, having done that, yeah, let me also go through the other groups presentation. Can I have the yeah, thank you. Excellent. Yeah, who's the person who's the presenter? Who's the presenter?
Neha is present in the screen. Neha 3.0.
Bye. Okay, Neha. But Neha is nowhere there. Is Neha around?
She's
I
here.
think she is on mute.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So what about Kaushal? Kaushal, you want to?
Well,
Yeah.
so made this four thing: HR, IT, HR, and project management.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 compensable factors, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And you have taken 5 grades. And you have, if you notice here in your definitions, for grade 1 also you said graduate, and grade 2 also graduate. Okay. Huh? And then graduate with certifications, etc. So when you're doing a job grading, I want you to actually make this, and because we will be doing point plan, so you could actually add the same qualification even in the next grade. Okay, because the other things like experience, etc., are changing. Like, for example, experience is 0 to 2, and here experience is 2 to 5. All right. Okay. And then these are the positions you have done. Now, I'm wanting to address the entire group. If you have done this now, do you think we have finished the job? What have we done now? We have taken 10 jobs. We have, what is it? Evaluated them. We have mapped them into grades: grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. Now, if I'm a competent person, now what is the next thing I need to do for these jobs?
Define the salary ranges for that particular group.
Define the salary ranges. So how am I going to do? So can somebody stop sharing so that I can show? Okay, great. Then, and I think somebody asked me this one question. So now that person can actually have a look at it. Okay. So this is a dummy case. So what have I done? I have taken 4 compensable factors. Then I said, hey, I want to have 5 grades. I have written the grade definitions, and I have evaluated and mapped them into their respective certain positions, into their respective grades. I cannot, I have to take all the definitions, and then you must have done, okay, this is in grade 1. All the definitions of this compensable factors, and then put them into grade 2. Did you do them like that? Just give me a thumbs up. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, after doing this, how do I fix salaries? So there is something what we say cluster analysis. So what is this called? Cluster analysis. Can you see it, or can I make it bigger for you? What is this called? Cluster analysis. Now, this is a dummy case, dummy data I've taken. Say, for example, I had an IT BPO company and I had certain positions. I've taken 8 positions here. Just like what you have done, I have used this template, and then I have done what? I have put them into their respective grades. Got it? Okay. Now, what did I do? I took market data from a similar industry for the same positions. Now, how to take market data, how to get market data, I will tell you in session 3, but this is market data. That means I will go to some salary survey, or even free sources are there. I have taken this market data. For example, for an engineer, which is actually a IT services company. This is a company with all these positions which are belonging to an IT services company. Okay. The salary is 20,000 market salary. For a finance executive, the salary is 22,000. So this is market data. So what have I done? I put grades here. I've done market salary. I'm doing cluster analysis. So simply what will I do? If I want to do, I'm doing what I call it as a scatter graph first. What is a scatter graph? It will give me an indication, it will give me a trend line. So insert chart. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, Then a trend line. If you recall, I did paired comparison. We did clusters. We did clusters of 1 to 4 positions in grade 1, then certain positions in grade 2 and grade 3. So now I have done what? Cluster analysis. So there are 3 positions in grade 1, 3 positions in grade 2, and 3 positions in grade 3. Got it? Okay. Now, what is the salary? Market salary I have taken. So your salary band becomes, typically market salary will be an average, the median data. So your salary band will become, the lowest will become your min and the highest will become your max. So typically if you look at it, the lowest is here 18,000. I just put that for your ready reference. And the max is here, what? 20,000. So this band is of 18,000 to 20,000. As for the data, I'm just taking the data now. Now here, what will it be? Is it something like 20,000 I've taken and I have actually put it as 30,000. And here I have put it as 50,000 to 70,000. From where have I taken? From here. Now, the most important thing is, now I have only done 10 positions, right? Now tomorrow, there may be many positions for me. So what happens? I have to now mechanically, I have to do the what? The salary band. For example, take this first grade, 18,000 to 20,000. So what is the difference in grade 1? What is the difference in grade 1?
Difference in terms of what? Sorry.
Min and max.
Okay,
2,000.
it is 2,000 rupees.
Sorry. How much?
2,000.
2,000.
2,000. Okay. My increment policy says average, on an average, I will be giving what? 1,000 rupees as an increment. Okay. What is it? 1,000 rupees as an increment. My increment will be okay. Now, on an average, my promotion policy says that from grade 1 to grade 2, I want them to stay on an average 3 years. Three years. Okay. Now, so if an employee is going to be in this grade 1 for 3 years, so typically how much 3 into 1,000 will be how much?
3,000 rupees.
3,000. Okay. So that means what should I do now? I have to extend this manually or mechanically by how much? By
1,000
another
rupees. 1,000.
1,000. 21,000 will
1,000
be
rupees.
become my. It doesn't mean that I'm giving it. I'm establishing a structure.
Yeah.
I'm keeping space. I'm making a window. Got it? Likewise, so that means this one will start what? 21,000 now. New one will write. Now 20. Now, so I can still have this min as this grade 2 as 20,000. There can be an overlap. 20,000 to 30,000. Now, how much is the difference? What is the difference between min and max in
10,000.
grade 2?
10,000.
How much? 10,000. Yeah. So again, you look at your promotion policy and see typically what is it? Does it take into consideration? Because if it is more, it's fine. But if it is less, you'll have to extend it.
Hmm.
Now notice this. From 30,000, because I did not have any positions and with the market data for those positions, grade 3 is showing 50,000 to 70,000. That means from 30 and 50, there's a huge gap. Now, can I have another sub band saying I can have 2A as what? 31,000 to what? I can have
50,000. Sorry,
50.
yeah,
And I can have 31,000 to 49,000. Okay,
yes,
got it? So in my grade 2, I'm having a sub-band 2A. Likewise, if I want, I can also have a sub-band in grade 3 because it is 50 to 70. So I can have 50 to 41 and 40 to 70 as another band. So what does it mean to say that we are trying to create a window, expand, looking at our both promotion policy and also what? Our annual increment policy so that
yeah,
we can then ensure that it is aligned with that. Are you with me?
yes,
And once your grades are done, then what is the benefit? Once your grades are done, what is the benefit?
And it's easy to maintain parity, and even recruitment
No, that is of course there, but all your benefits
we can
are
put.
your reimbursement, your medicals, everything is based on your benefits. So then you can say grade 1 reimbursement this one, and grade 2 this much, whether it is for hotel, for travel, for expense, all your benefits, reimbursement, perks, everything can be aligned to your grades. Any questions, guys? None? Let me see the other group. I can see people here. Sagar. Okay. Any questions, Shweta? Preeti?
Nirmala, yeah, just one question. I have missed
Yeah.
some part in between. Um, so when we are saying that between these grades there are 2A, we have mentioned that X amount we can use it
Yes.
in some form. So can you just elaborate that, Nirmala? I missed some part of it.
So now if I take this data, I've only used 8 positions, right? Huh? I've
Yeah,
only
yeah.
used 8 positions. Now, an organization will have 20 positions, 30 positions, 40 positions. Now, I'm creating a structure not for just those positions. I'm also creating a structure keeping in mind that tomorrow I can have many more positions. They could be in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, etc. Okay. So,
Yeah.
therefore, considering the fact that I've just taken market data of this, but create a structure taking into consideration your annual increment, your promotion policy, the number of years the employee has to stay in a particular grade, okay, on an average. I'm not talking about high performers who will be quickly promoted in 2 years or 3 years. You have to look
Yeah.
at your past data and say on an average, and then create a structure here. And once you have created your grading system, then you can actually align all your benefits in terms of reimbursements, hotel bills, insurance, your conveyance, your
Hmm.
rest of the things can be aligned with the grading system.
All
Are
right.
we there? Are we
Yeah,
there?
thanks.
yeah,
Thanks.
Okay.
Ma'am, one more thing. Could there be the possibility that within the grades also between different functions, because of the nature of responsibilities, it may not stay aligned? As in, for example, a grade 4 of IT and grade
Mm.
4 of HR or grade 4 of finance may not be same.
Once you create a structure, then irrespective of different jobs from different functions, they are going to be evaluated and put in those grades. Are you with me?
Yeah, but
Huh?
considering the skill set, now how the IT department or IT functions are evolving, considering the industry,
Right, right,
different
right.
industry, the IT. So
So,
the
if your
possibility of IT.
businesses are so different and they're very, very dynamic, then you're saying, hey, I'm going to create a different salary structure for my IT business. For
But
example,
is that an ideal one? Is that an
huh?
ideal approach? If it's not a business though, the
Huh?
industry is different.
Like,
Ah,
for example, if I take my industry, being in a manufacturing, my IT today is on a digital pivoting into a digital space, right? Now, getting
right.
or attracting those talent,
Ah.
if I have to attract them, then obviously this current grading in manufacturing segment may not be the appropriate one. Then, in that case, how should one approach it? Should we have a differential approach for them?
So you are talking about, say, for example, in a manufacturing organization, you also have an IT function. Okay. Or are you talking about totally an IT organization?
No, no, no.
Because
I'm
I will give
talking,
you.
yes,
uh,
for
hmm,
IT, which
uh,
is there in the same business or same entity.
absolutely. So I'll just give you some comparisons. Two comparisons. For example, there is an organization where it runs IT services and also product development. All right. Now, can I have a same salary structure? No, because the nature of activity is so different. The compensable factors which are there for what I pay for the IT services will be very different for IT services, and the compensable factors for IT product development will be different. Agreed?
Right.
Okay. So therefore, what will I do? I will create two structures. That's one scenario. I will create two salary structures. Why? Just go back. The market data I will collect for IT services uh, positions will be so different for as in compared to the market data I will be collecting for the product development positions. So much so that my salary structure will actually go out of the way, out of the window. Are you with me?
Yes.
Neha, just think about it. It's a very valid, relevant question, which I think you must get clarity, because the market data for. So, what am I saying? You have to go by the market data. So, when you're saying my IT with the technical skills, the market data is going to be very different. So, your market data will also decide where that job has to go. Got it?
Because I'm unable to establish the internal parity if I have to also look at the external aspect of it.
So there are one or two positions. So organizations, what do they do typically? If there are one or two positions which are very very hot, because the skills are all the time constantly changing. It's because of the agility and because of the supply and demand. You need to pay very high salaries. So you will keep them as outliers who have to be paid very high salary. Okay. So in such a case, typically organizations use what we call it as broadbanding, where the grade extends, in the sense the width of the grade is very, very broad. So somebody can be at a closer to the min, and somebody can be almost closer to beyond the midpoint. That means he's starting at a very high salary, but similar grade. Okay. Now, having said that, your answer will lie in another method which we are doing. So I didn't want to confuse. I still wanted to tell you a few things. Job grading may not be a very, very good method for organizations which are very dynamic. Job grading is typically for organizations which are into manufacturing, stable, there's not much of fluctuations. Got it? Was that Neha who asked me the question?
I had asked.
Yeah. So have you got your answer? What I said
Yeah,
is
some
that,
bits.
or to some extent. So when we do the other one, then you will get to know. So what I'm trying to tell you is organizations which are pretty stable, like government organizations, public sector, typically use this method of job grading because the job descriptions don't change much. Okay. So therefore, you are able to actually keep your salary bands narrow. You are able to have many grades. You are able to, give an opportunity of growth by showing every 2 3 years, just by service and some kind of a merit, you're growing. Maybe the job, the content is not so much, but it's, only by the virtue of number of years you are growing. Okay. Guys. So before we do the point method, which is very quantified, and need really 100% of your attention, we can take a small break, at least 6 minutes if it is sufficient, because we're running out of time, and just a small break and you can come back. Okay. How much time do you all need? 10 minutes or
Yeah.
6 minutes?
12:15.
10. ठीक है. All right.
Ma'am, there was some network issue at my end. Can you please briefly re-explain this fixing pay grade and benefits piece where you explained the differential between min and max,
Yeah.
and then you arrived at what would the promotion policy, and then you arrived at what would be the ranges?
You missed, is it? Huh?
Yeah, I could not hear properly. There was some network issue.
Okay, Sagar, it's like this. So when we are doing job grading, okay, so job grading takes into consideration, as I said, compensable factors, and then you determine the grades. Right? And then what do? You do the definitions for those compensable factors. Then the fourth is you're looking at a job description, not the job title, because the job description is going to give you a good understanding about the role, what kind of, the effort, the responsibility, because based on whatever is documented, it will give you a good understanding with reference to even those compensable factors and their definitions. So then you will evaluate, and then what will you do? Map them into respective grades. Now, having done that, say for example, I have done a set of 8 positions, I have done the grading, and these are the grades. Okay. Then what will I do? I'll get market data. So how to do market data, I will let you know in the next session. How, from where to get market data, how does one go about? So this is market data. Market data is simply what, say for example, this is an ITS organization. These positions represent ITS organization. So an engineer in the market in a similar industry gets 20,000 rupees. So when I'm saying market salary data, so definitely there should be, what, uh, match between this job description and the job description of the market salary. If it doesn't, then what happens? Then I'm not actually matching apples to apples. Now, having taken this market data, typically I do a cluster analysis. What is cluster analysis? Jobs of similar nature. So that will, I will do a scatter graph, select, insert, and do a scatter. It will then do a cluster analysis, taking me positions into slotting them or bundling them into respective grades. So once I get that, then this is your grades and this is your Y axis, this is your market data. Then you can actually take the market data for that minimum job as your minimum salary and the max as the max. So you're creating bands, min and max. This is exactly as per the market data. Now, having done that, what will you do? Now you will check. You will have to do some kind of a iteration. How mechanically? That is, you have to look at your increment policy and also your promotion policy and say, hey, on an average, what is the increment being given and what is the promotion policy for grade one? On an average, in how many years will he be promoted? Say, for example, I'm saying from grade one to grade two, this manufacturing organization takes 5 years, and they're giving on an average 1,000 rupees as an increment. That means then I'll have to extend this max to ensure that it takes care of, no? So 18,000 plus 5. So what will it be? 22, right? Huh? So
23.
I'll have to 22. So I'm extending the max. So likewise, I will do that. Then if there is a huge, so your minimum of the second grade can still start at this 20,000. That is, an overlap is definitely okay with it. But if, like for example, you will see suddenly that 50 to 70,000, but there's a huge gap, 30 and 50. So you will try to create another band here, because right now they may be not positions, but later on there'll be positions. Are you with me? You
Yeah.
are not creating a band just based on what the positions you have done, job evaluation. There might be positions later on. So you are creating a structure. You are creating provision.
Yeah.
It's like an architecture. Like, you don't just make one room because I need one room. Then again, you will make another room. No, you will create an architecture. You will say, hey, this is what I want. But maybe you will construct only one room right now. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then once you have done that, typically what happens, all your benefits, reimbursement, say for example, at a grade 1, you are allowed what? Travel. You can go by train. At grade 2, maybe, you can take a flight. So likewise again, hotel accommodation, 3-star, 5-star. So you are then creating policies that
Hmm.
travel policy or reimbursement policies for your internet, for your whatever policies you want to. So based what are they entitled for based on the grades. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So just to reiterate, some of the compensable factors could be qualification, product knowledge, experience, span of control, business output, supervision levels, okay, knowledge level, skill, creativity, budget control, number of reporting people, business impact, dollar impact, client interactions. So when we say compensable factors, that means that, like say dollar impacts. Higher the level, the impact, dollar impact will become higher. Like client interactions. Maybe, at a lower level, you are just dealing with 2 clients of low value. At a higher level, you are dealing with more clients with a higher value, etc. Now we are coming to a very interesting. So when I talked about narrow grading structure, that means there are so many grades with what the salary grade being min and max. The width of this grade is very, very narrow. While when we say those many grades have been collapsed and made into C, the width is very wide. Okay, we'll talk more in the session 3. Now we are coming to a very interesting method, job evaluation method, which all of you can use. This is a very quantifiable, objective way of doing job evaluation. And this is called point plan. How does a point plan look? It looks like this. First, let me show you how does it look. You are actually taking all the positions and assigning, evaluating and assigning point values. Like for example, a vice president sales and marketing, after doing a job evaluation through point plan method, you have arrived at 460 points. Now, how do you do this? How do you do this? So again, the point plan process is also similar to the extent that only selecting and defining compensable factors. But the rest of it is all very, very different. Okay? Okay. Step 1, I say identify compensable factors. What is this we are doing? Point plan. We are assigning points to every position after evaluation. How do we do that? And it's a very objective method. For example, if I say HR manager 400 points and an HR associate 150 points. So obviously, because of the points, we know that 400 is higher than 150. So I need to pay a job which is worth 400 more and a job which is worth 150 less. Now, how do we arrive at that? Step 1, compensable factors. So the similar, I have just kept again the same compensable factors. So what are they? To make it more interactive, somebody can read out if you are able to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Education, work experience, span of control, and creativity.
So you know what are compensable factors? Factors for which we pay salary, money. Okay. Now, step 2. Step 2 is determine or define your degrees of differentiation. Now, don't mistake them for grades. These are all called degrees of differentiation. Degree 1, degree 2, degree 3, degree 4 I've written. Levels. Now, what is a degree? What is a degree? For example, knowledge. Knowledge is a compensable factor for me. So when I say degrees of differentiation, that means that the level or the knowledge required at first degree is very low, and a knowledge required at a fourth degree or fifth degree will be much more complex. First, just understand. At a degree one, can somebody read at degree one what is the definition of the knowledge?
This factor measures the knowledge or equivalent training required to perform the job duties.
Yeah, so that is the basic definition of knowledge. That means it requires knowledge or equivalent training. At a degree one or at a L1, level one, what is the intensity of the knowledge required? Use of? Yeah, somebody? Use of? Anybody?
Basic knowledge.
So it
So
is
just
use of
read the
reading and
definition.
writing, adding and subtracting of whole numbers, following instructions,
Yes.
use of
Okay.
fixed charges, direct reading
Excellent.
of instruments, and similar devices where interpretation is not
Excellent.
required.
But look at the intensity at fifth degree.
So,
Anyone else?
yeah.
Use of higher mathematics involved in the application of engineering principles together with comprehensive knowledge. So that means the intensity of knowledge required at a first degree is much low, and the intensity required at a fifth degree is very high, complex. So what do you do now? Just let me by this one. Why is my So when we talk about degrees of differentiation, it is the intensity required at degree one education. At degree four, it will be very high. But do not mistake them for grade one, grade two, grade three. Very clear? Now, step three. What do I need to do? Write the grade definitions. Obviously, without grade definitions, then you will be just writing numbers. Then after writing the grade definitions, step 4, you have to give weightage to your compensable factors. When I say weightage, it always has to be 100. Even if you have 10 compensable factors, the total weightage of that should be 100. And what is weightage? That means you are giving, you are doing a priority, like, hey, in my organization, I need more work experience people, so that will be a higher weightage. Or maybe creativity is a higher weightage. So you are actually, not all the compensable factors are of the same intensity. Some high, some low. So that is called weightage. Okay. Now, in job grading, you never had the opportunity or option of doing all this. So what is weightage? So for example, the weightage I've given here is 20% work experience, 20 span of control, 25, because it's an knowledge based ITS. So creativity is required at a higher level. So 35. Have you understood weightage now? Huh? Just say yes or no, guys. Okay.
Yes.
Now create a point plan. How will you create that template of point plan? Now you have to multiply 20 with this degree 1. So 20. 20 with degree 2, 40. 20 with degree 3, 60. 20 with degree 4, 80. Okay. So again 20. So you have multiplied your work X with all the degrees against a span of control. So when you actually calculate a degree 1, this should be 100. This should be 200. At degree 3, it should be 300. At degree 4, it should be 400. Till here, have you understood? All clear? How to
Yes.
create this plan? Huh? Now what will you do? You'll say, hey, now I have to do the evaluation part, job evaluation. Taking every job, what will I do? The best part is there in job grading. You took everything in a straight line. But here, somebody was asking, somebody will require more of this. A job will require less of this. So, say for example, I'll just say an HR team lead. I will say I need education if I have written HR essence at degree 1, 20 points. Okay. And experience, I will need 2 to 5. So how much will I add here? Points?
40.
Degree 2? Huh?
40.
40. Let me do the annotation. Huh? Right. So I can then assign based on the requirement. I can say I can take 20. Then I'll say, hey, for this position, no, work is this required? Okay. And span of control is also high, so I'll use this. Okay. But then creativity is only low. Okay. So that means you are doing sometimes then this and this. Okay. Maybe another job I will say, hey, and then maybe then I'll need this one. But how are you identifying this? By looking at the job description, now you can actually assign point values depending on their requirement. Are you with me?
Yes.
Earlier on, what did we do? We were just taking everything in vertically. But here in point plan, it gives you the option based on the job, what level of intensity is required. To that degree, I will assign my points. Have you understood, guys? Huh? Everybody?
Understood.
Huh? Now what will you do next? Now I will then add up. Say, for example, HR team lead. Say, for example, I've already done. So I have arrived at how much? 220 points. So how did I arrive at this 220 points? I have actually taken all the 4 compensable factors based on the intensity of the degree required. And from where will I get? From the job description. Okay. So like, for example, I just showed you that. Stop sharing. Yeah. Say, for example, the general manager, 400. So what are the 4 compensable factors here? Knowledge, effort, working conditions, role and responsibilities, and attitude and behavior. So how much of points have I given to this based on the job description? 160, 50, 10, 100, 60. Okay. And then I have added them. Typically, a point plan looks like this. See, have you seen? Or I can show you another where we have done. So if you see, what is it? Weightage, then degrees, okay, and then creating a point plan. Yeah. Is this very clear? Now let me go to, now what are we going to do? Okay. So I know now that these are the positions and I have put these point values. So I have to put them either in ascending or descending order, which I have not done here. Okay. So these are 8 positions for which I have calculated the point values. Have you seen here? Now, is that good enough? Now I know which job is higher. Which job is higher here? Can you tell me?
Technical
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 chief.
chief.
380.
There is 380 technical chief. Then there is this purchase manager, 360. So now you know that these are the jobs and I need to pay high salary for this guy. Then later on this and this. So likewise. Now, but how will you do that? Now you need to get market data. So you also know how to get market data. I put the market data. But in point plan, now you have a very interesting statistical tool which you can use to predict a salary. Okay. Some of you have done HR analytics, must have learned in that. We do something called regression. What do? We do something called regression. Now, whenever we do regression, we use two variables. Please ask me questions if you don't follow, but this is important. So we use two variables. Now, what are those variables? One is a independent variable and the other is a dependent variable. Independent variable IV and dependent variable DV. And when you do regression, even your Excel will understand only this. That is, independent variable is always X. You should not interchange X. Dependent variable is always Y. Okay. So which is my independent variable here?
Point values.
Point value. And which is my dependent variable?
Market salary.
Market salary. Simply to give you a little more clarification, when say for example, a child, uh, studies for many hours, okay, and then he gets marks. So my son John, he was studying for 5 or 6 hours, on a daily basis, and he got in maths 60%. So which will be my dependent variable and which will be my independent variable?
Marks would be the output. That is,
Excellent. So outcome or output is always, so the marks are dependent on number of hours you have studied. So number of hours is independent and the output is dependent because it has been, you also call it as a predictor. Independent variable is also called the predictor. But let us be simple by saying independent variable and dependent variable. Say, for example, another simple example. See, my plant is growing every day because I'm giving what? Grow more fertilizer. So 10 grams of grow more, okay, fertilizer I'm giving. And growth of the plant is 1 inch, 2 inch. So which will be my dependent variable and which will be my independent variable?
So growth will be dependent.
The growth of the plant will be a dependent output. And the what I call it also the lead. So the fertilizer will be the independent variable. So now here, this is independent and this is your dependent variable. So you have to calculate to predict the salary and do a regression. You have to calculate what two values. They are called slope and intercept. Now I will explain to you what is slope, but for now just stay with it because then you'll get a little mixed up. Slope and intercept. Now predict the salary. You have to calculate these two values, and the equation is the pay line salary Y is equal to slope multiplied by the point value plus intercept. So once you get the value of slope and intercept, then you can calculate your salary. What should you be paying for your HR team based on your market? It will throw it up. That is the pay line salary or predicted salary. How will you do? Simple. All that you need to do is insert, then, I have to first insert, then, no, I'm so sorry. Where am I going? Formula, insert function, all right? Then, if you can see my windows, slope. Then I will say, okay. Then I will say known wise. So which data will I take?
Ma'am, I think you'll have to deselect the
1 second, I
selection.
will do it.
Yeah.
No, 1 second, I will do it again because
Selection.
Yeah. Now probably it is okay. So insert function, slope, okay, known wise. So which are my known wise? This one, okay, and I will be taking only till here. Now known axis. So I should also be taking data only till there. And why I have left some blank, I will tell you. All right. Now, okay. So what is the value? 430.960. All right. So this is your slope value. Let me write slope. Okay. Now I need to calculate what? Intercept. Okay. So known wise, then known axis. Yeah. So this is my intercept value, which can be negative as well. And I will also show you why is it negative, etc. Now what will I do? I just have to what? Use this value in this equation. So what does it mean? Yeah. So if you notice, this is another data as such, but if I want to do it here, so all that I need to do is what? What will I do here? Equal to, okay. So what will I do? Anybody? Just tell me.
430.96.
Yeah. So can I make it
It's
as
low.
431?
Yeah,
Huh?
431
Because it is almost 0.9. So
Yeah.
431
into
now multiplied by point
220.
value.
Yeah.
So what will I do? Give dollar sign, huh? And then your point value, which
Two-
I can use it as a, okay?
Yes,
Hmm?
right.
Now my intercept, which is minus, no, sorry, minus how much? 70548. 548. Okay.
Yeah.
Enter. So what is the predicted salary? 24,272 per month, because the pay line salary here, market salary is 25,000 per month. Now, if I want, now I can also what? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you will see that the market data is missing here, right? Huh? Now, I purposely kept this market data missing here. Now, when you're doing your job evaluation, maybe there are one or two positions which are very, very unique to your organization, and you will not get market data. Then how will you actually then, calculate the salary, predicted salary? You do not need market data for all the positions. Because if you have for some positions, you can calculate your slope and intercept value, through which you can get the what? Then you can calculate your predicted salary. Because there are certain positions you don't have benchmark positions in the market, then how will you do? So most of the consulting organizations will calculate salary like this. Now, mind you, this predicted salary is called median data. That means 50th percentile data. Now, depending on your compensation policy, whether you want to lead, lag, or be on par, then you can make necessary adjustment, which I will save it for later time. So right now, just understand how to calculate this. Okay. Now, you can also do it in many other ways. How some of you know to do it, I'll just tell you. One is select this data. Okay, what did I do? I selected the data. Insert. What will I do? Go to chart, then scatter. Okay. Now, click on this, right click, add a trend line, and then I will say, yeah, display equation, display R. I don't know if you all can see. Can you see?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, we can.
Did I get the same value? So this is your slope value and this is your intercept value. Got it? Yes or no? Got it?
Yes.
Now, you can also see something called R square. What is this R square? That means this is coefficient determination. That means regression. The measure for regression is 1 or 100%. From 0 to 100%, that's the highest it can go. Now, what is it showing here? 0.99. That means your dependent value, 99%, is dependent on the independent. So, very good, because just 0.1% variation only. So, it's a very good regression. So, it can be taken as a very good data. But say, for example, if your R square is showing as 0.50, that means 50% of your market data is dependent on point value. There are other things, other variables which are dependent. It could be supply and demand of the position. It could be any other reason. Okay. So typically when you're doing your point value, point plan, your regression should be between the range of at least 85 to 85 to 100. Okay, you may not get total 100 because there'll be outliers, but anywhere between 0.85 and above. Are you with me, guys? Any questions? Because I'm going to make you quickly do one exercise. Any questions?
What exactly the slope and interception mean?
Yes, I'm going to help you with what exactly is slope. Okay, I will, before I send you, I will just explain that to you. Okay, quickly. This is my market data. What does it mean? This is my Y. Got it? Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is my point value or job points. X. Okay? I can also say, Rana, I can say, for example, I'll just, yeah, that should be enough. Okay. So this is 0 to 100. This will be 200. Okay. This will be 300. Sorry. So, and this will be your market, 10,000, 20,000, etc. Now, if you noticed, I did a trend line, right? So when I plot job points with market data, I get a trend line. No? Did you get a trend line with the job points? No? There could be points here, then there could be points here, then there could be points here. So you saw points. So this is a trend line. Now, when I talk about slope, what is slope? It is the so there's a delta here. Delta X, delta Y. This is calculated through regression, the value of the slope. Okay. Say if I were to have another trend line, this one, and if I were to, and if I were to give this trend line trend line A, all right, and trend line B, whose slope value will be higher?
Whose value will be higher for A?
Sorry. So the slope value for whose slope value will be higher? The slope value of A will be higher than B. And if I draw another line here like this, and if I say this is C, the C will be much lower. So what does it mean slope? That, gradient, delta X and delta Y's gradient, which is calculated through your regression analysis. Okay. Now, what is intercept? Intercept is where the trend line cuts into your market data Y line. Okay, it's also called intercept Y. So, like for example, okay, what is the value of X when what is the value, by how much does the Y increase or the value when your X is 0? So every time there is an increase in one point, you will notice that, there is an increase in Y, and which is calculated through the regression. Is it clear, guys? Huh? I want you all to do this. Yeah, to some extent. But yes, you will get the hang of it. But I want you all to do this regression analysis right away so that, you know, uh, one second. You can do it actually independently also. It's share. One second. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Because then I'll teach you how to make the grades in the next. Okay. A very small exercise. You can actually, yeah, I want you all to do this independently because then it will help you to go back and then do it all by yourself. There are how many positions here? You can actually do them in your Excel sheet, very small data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 positions. Okay. And I've also calculated the point value for you. All right. I've also given you the market value. Now quickly calculate what should I be paying if I'm paying at the market median, for these positions. Okay,
Yeah.
right. So just take me through everything so that I can see how you've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even the others can see then. Calculate slope. Yeah, first calculate
So I
slope.
have calculated the slope.
Hmm.
You can see the
Do it,
formula.
I want you to do it again, Sanjay,
Okay, no
so
problem.
that others also can see it. Yeah, it won't take
Yeah.
much time, right?
So I'll just write slope over here.
Ah.
Okay.
SLOP. You
Then
can see that.
then
Known Y's,
it
known
is
X's.
Y. So I can select Y here,
Ah,
and then known XS. So which will be
right.
this.
Good.
I can close the. It is
Yeah.
giving me
So you got value.
246. I
So
got the
please
slope.
pull that and put it elsewhere because you will now do the predicted salary. No, put it
That I
below.
have done.
It will be
That I
better.
have done in column D.
No, no,
So
no, no.
it is
I'm
set.
saying keep them as separate so that
Okay.
okay, fine.
No, I'll put it
Um,
here. No problem.
okay,
Yeah, I'll put
okay,
it here.
okay, okay.
Okay.
For others to understand. Now
Yeah,
do
yeah.
the intercept so that others also can see whoever is doing it.
So then the intercept. Intercept
Mm,
also we have to give first known YS, which will be this one.
mm.
Then I have to select
Known
known
X's.
XS, which will be this.
Yes.
I'll
Mm.
close the bracket, which is 19.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Now your formula to get to calculate the salary of whatever that position A we will say. Okay.
Yeah.
What is it? So
Yeah.
so slope multiplied by the point value plus intercept, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So now,
my
yeah. So you can insert that there in So your
so
slope is
I'll just remove this
240s.
first. Yeah. So my slope is 247. I will take. Okay.
Yeah.
Into the point
Put
value
that
is
right.
115
Okay. Minus.
minus
You can put 19015.
19015.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the
And then
salary
drag
that
it.
I got. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
this is your new salary. I'm just having a look at it. Yeah. Okay. That you want 160 and 160. Okay. Good. All right. Now do the other. Insert. So, so what you do, select X and Y data.
Yeah.
Select X and Y data. Insert. Go to scatter. No, do
This
that.
one?
Then click on, yeah. Now click, yes, that one. Now click on any blue job point and right click. Add trend line. Okay. Now, you see format. Wait 1 second. Format trend line. If you keep going below, scrolling below, yeah, that one. Just again press on any job point and right click. Any job point. That means
Yeah.
blue color. Huh? And go to right click. Yeah. Add trend line.
Okay. Again, I have to do that.
Just add trend line. Add trend line. Yeah. Click. Now don't close any window. See,
Yeah.
you can see a format trend line and you can see exponential, linear, etc. etc. Now keep scrolling down. You will see automatic, custom, forecast. Scroll down.
Scroll
At your
down.
extreme right. Extreme right.
No, you are
Sanjay.
right. Extreme
On
right.
the
No,
on
not
the
that
right
one.
No, no,
format
no, no.
format trend
Your
line. On the format
format
trend line.
trend line widget is there, no? That box. Format trend line to your extreme right.
You can see
We
glass.
have trend.
So no,
See,
but
In
that
that
will come. That will come
that
here.
dialog
That is
box, the
your
formatting
okay.
dialog
dialog
box,
This.
box,
Sanjay.
Not
Sanjay.
this.
No,
Besides
not
that.
that.
Besides that. Besides that.
Beside that.
Yes. Yes. Correct. On the
Format
right. On the
trend
right.
No,
line,
no,
Right.
right?
Right.
beside that.
Right.
The box there.
हाँ
Yeah.
हाँ come down
उसको
scroll
नीचे
down
Keep
drag
just
करो.
down yeah
scrolling down,
Oh, okay.
scrolling down.
Sorry. I cannot see that because okay, sorry. This okay. Yeah. Okay.
Now scroll down.
Yeah.
If you keep scrolling down, you will have display equation on chart
Right.
and display R square value on chart.
Right.
Now, is the value same?
246.34 19015. Yes.
Is it, same? And what is
Yes.
your R square?
R square is 0.9651.
So, which is very good. That means 96%. That means your market data is very good. So, therefore, your predicted salary also will be very good. So, there is one more way of doing it where you can click and you will get a quick layout. So, that is another way also of doing rather than calculating slope intercept. So, this is one shortcut which I told you how you can do. Okay. And
Right.
I hope the rest of you have also got the same thing.
I got everything same. Just the salary values are a little different.
How come? Can you show me 1 second? Yeah.
Yes.
Sanjay, can you?
Yeah, I will stop sharing.
Yeah, so that we can just correct it before I give one more.
So I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know
Yeah,
once.
please do. Please do.
So this is my slope and intercept.
Right. Okay. The same value,
Salary
I think, no?
calculation.
I'll tell you maybe because I'll tell you why. Because I made him round up the figure.
Right.
No, let us, Neha, why don't you do it again, all over again here? So that,
Okay.
because there is this, little difference and let us just check.
Okay.
Yeah, your slope value is the same. Two 46, 3, 4. Okay, done. Fine. So now, So now you do the formula.
The
slope
intercept is
multiplied.
also same. Value is coming
Yeah,
out to be the
yeah.
same.
So now do that, no? So you do the slope multiplied by the point value minus intercept, and you can put it as 19015 because it's almost 7. So I said you can put it as 1901415. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Let me tell you, I always recommend the point value cell is changing every time. So only point values you can put the cell, but for slope and intercept, because they're constant, you can actually hardwire them. Got it? So that is why put that equal to, okay, put equal. Go to the, now you put 246 or 246.3. No, don't put B22.
Okay.
You put, because they are constant. So put the value. They're not changing. Okay. You put multiplied by, now put the cell value there. Now put the minus 19015 or 19014.
I'll again enter the data, ma'am.
No, no, no. You will get it. Yeah, 19014. Now you click it.
Okay.
There will be a little difference. Hasn't there been?
Yes. The difference is there.
Ma'am, that difference is coming because we had taken 247 as a rounded number.
Okay.
And
Now I'll
here,
tell you. Now I'll tell you. Okay. So that difference is okay. But you might ask me one question that, ma'am, market value is showing 10,000, but here the predicted salary is showing lesser than 10,000. Why? Right?
correct.
Now, what happens is when you're doing a regression, it does not do market pricing job to job. It is taking into consideration all the jobs. Okay. So this is called, establishing both internal equity and external equity. So therefore, you will find that the predicted salary sometimes it can be little high for some jobs, and for some jobs it can be little lower. Are you with me? Because it is not taking into consideration just one job. It is taking into consideration a set of jobs. Because you will see that it is 10,000 and here it is 9310. Okay. Grades. How do we create grades from this point plan method? Okay. Now, typically what happens is, so here there are very few positions, but they could be more, say 20, 25. So I will put them first of all in ascending or descending order. So here they are not in ascending order also. So 380, 360. So 380 is my highest. What is my highest job with the highest point value? 380. And the lowest?
200.
200. 200. Is there any other job which is less than 200? So the range of my point value is from 200 to 380.
80.
Now what will I do? I will then say a cutoff 200 to 300. 100 points will be my grade 1. Okay. Then I will see what are the jobs which are falling between 200 to 300. What all jobs will follow? Will fall into this 200 to 300. So it will be 200. So it will be
HR
store
team lead
assistant,
and senior engineer.
store assistant, engineer, and product
Production
planning
planning executive.
executive. Okay.
HR
And
team lead.
HR team lead. All right. Now, what am I doing? Cluster analysis. I have now put them 100 points, 200 to 300. These are the jobs which are falling within. Now, I'll specially take care of the job which is at the 300 if there's any job. I will look at this job. Does it have any supervisory responsibilities? Do you think it belongs to this bucket or to a higher bucket? Okay. Then I will put, then I'll say, hey, because that job has to go into the higher level. So maybe I will say from 200 to 280. Got it? Now the next grade will be, I will increase the points by 150 maybe, because if you notice the principle of, when you keep in a structure from lower to top management, always, because of the complexity of the job, your point value becomes very high. Okay, so when you are actually creating grades out of the point values, so even your cutoff should be higher at as you are gradually going to the higher points. All right, I will show you an example in my next session. That's the first thing I will show you, where I've worked out example already from point value to predicted salaries, and how do you create grades and bands. Okay, any questions, guys? Have you understood? Because
Ma'am,
yes,
while we
yeah.
are discussing this, just wanted to check with you the quantum of work. Okay, while we are the compensable factors, when we are looking at certain of it, does quantum of work falls in the compensable factor? Because when we are doing certain while certain worth is defined for that particular grade, but if a person has achieved to that extent that he can do similar role more times, then in that case how you can reward that individual, because the value, say a grade 3 person jitna usko karna tha, he has finished doing that, but again by virtue of his learning curve he can do
think
more
think
of.
think was that who is this asking me? What did I tell you in my yesterday's session?
Ma'am,
How
I
do
was not
we?
there yesterday, so
Oh,
hence.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, it's all right. So when you're talking about quantum of work, so A is doing, say for example, in a payroll, one guy is doing for 100 people, the other guy is doing for 500 people, so obviously quantum of work is more. So how will you reward him? Because obviously if you are paying the same amount, irrespective of one guy is doing low and one guy is doing more, then that is inequity. So this comes under individual equity, that is when two individuals are in the same position, but one is doing much more than the other, then the concept of variable pay comes. Are you with me?
Mhm.
The concept of
Variable
variable
pay.
pay. That means you have done 100 units, you are getting this. But if you're going to do 150, you'll get more salary. It comes with that contingency. Because if I add it like a salary, that means, irrespective of whatever maybe, you'll be doing this month so much, next month less. Again, maybe on a rotation, you're not required to do. So when you're talking about quantum, then you link it up with variable pay. That means higher the performance, more salary. Lower the performance, your average,
But
maybe you're
ma'am,
just
how
taking.
long this approach would be sustainable?
How long will this approach
As
be
in, because
sustainable? Depending on
motivation
the
and
yeah, tell me. Yeah, yeah.
considering the motivation, because the yearn is, while for some 1 or 2 years you can still do it by compensation, by compensating him, but then going forward he or she may desire to grow up the ladder, then to can we change the grade, and then if that's the case, then
No, no.
to what extent?
So you will have to give me more data in terms of what is this position, what is the nature of the work, and exactly, because I need more data on this. Maybe you can give me right away. It will help even others. So exactly what kind of a position are you
Say,
discussing?
for
Because
example,
you,
a
hmm,
quality QMS manager or a lead.
okay,
Maybe the
quality
grade,
manager. Hmm,
grade may be at grade 4 or grade 5. The
okay,
But now, since he's able to do pan India operations, ideally it should have been maybe divided into 4 zones or something. But now
hmm,
he's able to, because of his learning curve, he's able to do pan India,
okay, okay.
manage pan India operations. Then in that case,
Got it. Got it. Got it. So now, when you are applying a point value, now just listen to this. So that means now, quality manager, one guy might be just doing a region or smaller area, geographical area, right? But another person is doing pan India. So you said quantum of work. Why did the quantum of work increase? Because he is looking at pan India and one guy is only looking at regional. Okay? Are you with me?
yes, ma'am.
Like, for example, a project manager. Two people are project managers. One guy is only handling 10 projects, but the other guy is handling 30 projects. So should they be given the same salary? So that means your compensable factor there will also have, one of the compensable factor will be what?
Span of control or
If he's taking care of a lot of teams, span of control, or if he's actually looking at, so that means geographies also will become a compensable factor there.
Multiple units, yeah, geographies or the
Because you
region.
are saying in terms of responsibility, where complexity, one is only one unit, but so you will be assigning degree of differentiation when you write there. One will be at a degree one, maybe the other one will be at a degree two or a degree three. So automatically point values will go up. So when your point value will go up, your salary will go up. Make sense? So it is not just looking at like you came up with quantum of work, right? But you need to look at a little more, step back and see, hey, why did the quantum of work increase? What is the reason of quantum of work? Both are doing the same job, but why did the quantum of increase? Then you came up with saying, no, one is looking at a pan India, one might be looking at just local and global kinds. Okay, makes sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So it depends on. So compensable factors are not something like, you can cut paste, look at them, because they are contextual. You need to understand the nature of the business and then determine the compensable factors. That is
But
because that's how they are differentiated from organization to organization. Yeah.
so when we approach or a standard JE approach is taken, so they don't consider this quantity or quantum of work, right? While arriving at the scoring
Point,
mechanism.
point values?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Then in
It is
that,
not the
how to
quantum
plug
of
that?
work.
Yeah.
They will actually go back to why have the quantum of work increased? I'll tell you why, where am I coming from? Because, for example, if two people are working to simplify the entire thing, say, for example, in an IT organization, there's something called background verification, right? There is a background verification. An HR executive does background verification. Maybe one guy is doing only for 100 people or 200. Another guy is doing 500 or for, large number of people. But then definitely you will be having two people under him, etc. So, A, quantum of work, responsibility, everything has increased, right? So there you will actually put one of the compensable factors could be also a span of control. Okay, but by the virtue of just quantum of work, you will not be able to say, hey, he needs to be paid higher salary. You need to find out what will be the reason. What is it? What is the nature of the job? Is the nature of the job just increase of work, or is it complexity? Has the complexity increased? Has the responsibility increased? Has the effort increased? Then, if these things are increasing, then obviously the degrees of differentiations will also increase. The point values likewise will also increase. Okay. But you need to get me little more data, then we can definitely, because you can't just look at one aspect and then conclude. You with me?
Yeah.
And especially it's a question of money. So obviously, everybody will say, hey, but my job is higher. I should be getting more. Every point is money. Okay. So, any question, guys? Any further questions?
This pay line salary is what, ma'am?
Pardon?
Pay line salary, does it mean anything?
Pay line salaries?
Does it mean anything? Is there any definition for this term?
Yeah, that's what I said. This is the salary you are going to pay to these people now. Okay. So, what is pay line salary? That means this is the salary which has been predicted, and this is the salary you want to pay an HR team lead who is getting 25,000 in the market salary is 25,000, but you are proposing as a predicted salary 26,000, because as I said, when you do regression, it is not taking into consideration just job, you know, every single job. It takes a set of jobs, aligns it, and does a regression, and it throws up. This is the salary. Now you can create a band, uh, because your salary cannot be absolute. So you will create a band plus 10 or minus 10. So 26,000, you can add plus 10 here, minus 10. That becomes a band. That means you are creating a band. Min and max. Salary band. But if you are creating grades from points, so I explained to you how do you create grades from points by doing cluster analysis, taking the highest and the lowest range of points, and then taking a cutoff maybe at a 50, at a 100. But then it needs iterations, mechanical, because you need to go through a process of at every cutoff, what kind of jobs are coming there. So should that job be a lower job or a higher grade? So you are doing that exercise. Okay. So I will actually showcase one, a live case which we have done in the next session, where how do you translate, how do you convert your point values into your salary bands and then into grades. So payline salary, it's a predicted salary. This is also you are matching the market median. So when we talk about market salary, typically it is a median salary. That means midpoint, 50th. So this is also a midpoint. So depending on your compensation policy, whether you want to lead, lag, or be on par, then you can increase it by 10% or you want to decrease it by 10%, which I'll be discussing in the next session.